Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission, our May 20th meeting. It is 6:49 p.m. on May 20th, 2025. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And the boilerplate here is that the pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting of the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation. A video recording of these proceedings will be available on the city's website, city's meetings and events web page, or by emailing historic@somerville.gov, somervillemath.gov. Completely botched that. Um, and Before going on, we'll just introduce ourselves. The commissioner is starting with Ms. Price.
My name is Denise Price, and I live in a local historic district.
Thank you. And Mr. Falvey,
My name is Ryan Falvey. I live in Ward 2.
Mr. Shagnon.
BJ Shagna. I'm the landscape architect on the commission and a resident of Ward 5.
Thanks. And I'm Eric Parks, the chair, resident of Ward 3, historic homeowner and an architect. And we have Ms. Anthony with us tonight.
Hi, I'm Madison Anthony. I'm a planner with PPZ, and I think we have one other planner here from PPZ here tonight.
Hi, I'm Lexi, and I'm also a planner for PPZ.
Thank you all. All right, we have one item on one hearing on our agenda tonight. Let me just get back to my agenda. And we have some other business. In that case is a determination of preferably preserved status, which is step 2 in the demolition delay ordinance. This is a case that we heard about a month and a half ago. It was determined to be historically significant. Now we're back to determine whether it should be preferably preserved or not. The case number is HP 24-000122, address is 128 Central Street. The applicant is Pro Touch Home Improvements, Inc., Nilton Dornelis, and the owner is Nilton Dornelis. The applicant seeks to demolish a building constructed a minimum of 75 years ago. Is the applicant here tonight?
We are, Mr. Chair. Nice
Hi
to see
there.
you. Hi, Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street, Somerville. With me is Nilton Dornelis from the applicant Pro Touch Home Improvement, Inc. And we were here back on April 1st. This property is a single-family house in the NR zoning district on a fairly large lot. And the applicant would like to demolish the house, split the lot into 2 lots, and build a 3-unit structure on each lot for a total of 6 units. And this would increase the density in the city, which meets the purposes of both the zoning ordinance and the Summer Vision 2040 plan. So regarding preferably preserved, which is what we're talking about tonight, I mean, looking at the criteria in the demolition review ordinance and looking at the staff report, there's no association with any important persons or events or association with the broad architectural, cultural, political, economic, or social history of the city or the state. And it's not historically or architecturally significant in terms of period, style, method of building, construction, association with reputable architect or builder, and demolition of the single-family structure would not be detrimental to the city in any way and would allow for this property to be used in a manner consistent with the goals of the Somerville zoning ordinance and the Summer Vision 2040 plan to create much needed additional housing. As stated in the significant staff report, the structure is not unique in any way. It's similar in style to other homes in the neighborhood, I would say also citywide. While the staff report talks about structures across the street, I'm not allowed to share my screen, but I guess it doesn't really matter. If you look at the photo on the first page of the significance staff report, you can see the triple decker to the right of it, which is pretty large, and which appears to be, what appears to be a long duplex building on the left, 2 doors down, and then there's the very large fabrication brick building at the corner of Central and Vernon, being the Rogers Foam complex. Diagonally across at 131 Central Street's a multiplex in the UR zone. So if you look at the block, and we talked about this last time, there's sort of a hodgepodge mix of building types along the street here. Alterations have been made to the house, as stated in the staff report for significance. One can see the change in the footprint if you look at the 1895 to 1900 Sanborn maps. The building type is very common. It is not a special or significant one. Having only one unit on a lot of this size is not the highest and best use of the site for the city's purposes. At that April 1st hearing on significance, a number of you indicated that while you felt the structure might be significant, you were not all sold on it being preferably preserved due to the mishmash of building types on the street. So I would ask you, as we're here tonight, to follow through with that and find it not preferably preserved, as the applicant requests the commission regarding 128 Central Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in your group want to speak, or should I move up to public comment?
I don't know, Nilton, is there anything you wanted to add while you're here?
Yeah, I embrace everything that you just said. If you wanted to move forward,
Okay.
I'll love to hear from you guys.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you. If any members of the public would like to speak about this case, 128 Central Street, please raise your hand and the staff will unmute you.
Chair Parks, this is Madison speaking. I don't see anyone here raising their hand.
All right, in that case, we'll close the public comment portion of this hearing and toss this out to the commission. Who would like to offer thoughts on this?
And I'll start. I think much as we talked about last time around, I mean, it's one of the oldest properties on this part of Central, and it's relatively intact. But on the other hand, it's not, as Attorney Dash stated, you know, it's a fairly common building type throughout Somerville, and it's a fairly common example. It's not particularly especially well preserved in any sort of necessarily. I mean, the front porch is in pretty nice appearance, but other than that, it's much like a lot of them that are out there. I think, yeah, much as has been said, I feel we've made the right decision in declaring its significance, but is it significantly detrimental to the city for it to go? I don't know, other than the group of 3 of these older gable front homes going down to 2 in a street that doesn't really read as if it was ever, I mean, it wasn't ever a consistent mass of these or anything of the sort. These were just a few in a collection of styles over the years. Yeah, I'm not hugely attached to keeping it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just jump in. There's a pause there. I think last time around I was the one who voted not for significance, and it's tough because there'd be some heartache. Sorry about the ring. Losing a building on that street, I think we're the historic commission, not the zoning board. And its porch is nice, and I like the building. It's not part of a pattern in the street. It is a front gable facing house, of which there are many, and I think the threshold for making one of those, protecting it, is a little bit higher in a way that I'd want to see a bit more of it left. Detail wise, the base house, it's fairly basic. I don't think it ever had a whole lot of detail, but I would probably lean again towards not calling this one perfectly preserved.
I have a few comments. It looks like a really great little house. I just love the full front porch along the front. And it's just symmetrical and it looks great. I think with the other houses on the street, it adds to it. I understand what everybody's saying, that, you know, there's a mishmash of styles on the street, but that's kind of what makes Somerville so great, is we have all of these different architectural different types of homes on the street, and there's 3 families and 6 families and then weird little quirky buildings that were built. And I think it would be sad to see it go. I think it could be restored and be ridiculously cute. And I mean, I'm not in zoning either, but, you know, can you lift it and bring it forward and, you know, put 2 other units so that you can still achieve 3 units? I just think it would be, if it were thoughtfully done, I think it would be very desirable. So I think it should be preserved.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I'm split. I don't feel strongly that it's that significant or that it deserves to be, there needs to be preferably preserved. I definitely agree with Ms. Price. I think it's a really attractive house. I think it, you know, definitely has some very appealing features to it. It would be nice if there was any way that it could be incorporated or used on the property, and having, you know, new units sistered onto that to achieve the, you know, the number of total units that they're looking to have put on the property there. But I assume when you're talking about having to split the property and put 2 different buildings in, it's just not feasible doing that. But I'd ask that as a question to Adam and Milton, that their thoughts on being able to retain part of the property at least.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, the problem with it is where it is on the property and how the property is, and there are, you know, lot width requirements in the zoning, and I know you're not the zoning
Right.
board, but in order to do this, you have to use the lot in a certain way, and this, aside from the fact that adding onto it and all is going to ruin that symmetry and the whole look that you
Yeah.
like, I would also note that there's a triple decker there, and we're going to be putting in 2 new triple deckers. So actually we are going to be creating a nice little symmetry in a row here. So there is, if you look at the future, it's actually not a bad look for that area on the street, and you're going to get more density there. But in order to keep this building and keep the lots and all the setbacks and such, and the lot covers and green scores and everything, it's really not possible to do the project with that building on the site. That's, I mean, Milton, you could probably get into more detail on it, but that's the gist.
Yeah, and I was just gonna, you know, basically say what he just said. It's the problem with that is with, you know, when you go into the zoning and where the building is located on the lot, and there's nothing that we can do to add on to it without modifying the whole structure. Even if we had to add some, you know, with the existing building, and it would be a significant modification to the building itself, that would be impossible to kind of keep the same aspect. I mean, we have a couple options as far as to add the 6 units into it as a semi-detached house. And one of the options that we explored is to have a mansard roof to kind of give, you know, a nice character to the home instead of just a triple decker. I mean, if the boards prefer the triple decker because of the triple decker on the site, but I think would have to fall into the requirements of the zoning, and that's what we had. It would be possible to work with the existing house with the amount of units we'd like to put it on.
Thank you. That's clarifies things and is helpful. And based on that information, I'd lean against declaring it preferably preserved.
Thanks, Raj.
Yeah, I mean,
I totally get your point, Ms. Price, about it is a very cute house.
same.
So,
So there is some heartache there, and especially given what often replaces these things, I don't know the applicants, so I don't know what they have in mind, but often you see kind of schlocky. Well, I'm not gonna say that comes off badly. I would hope that whatever replaces it is tasteful and is nicely detailed, but ultimately, I just as a means of protecting it, I just don't see this particular one raising to that level. So
Yeah, I mean, I come back to the, much as it's a lovely building, I come back to the preferably preserved determination supposed to be based on, would it be detrimental to the architectural, cultural, political, economic, or social heritage of the city? And I don't, much as it's detrimental to the architectural heritage of that house, I don't know that it rises to that level of the city as a whole. I mean, yeah.
or
What's
it
wrong?
runs into trouble is ignoring the history angle. It's one of the nicer houses on that side of the street.
Yeah, there are some other nice
So-
ones too.
But that is sort of a different level of evaluation
Yeah,
in general.
yeah. Unfortunately, aesthetic heritage of the city is not one of our criteria.
Anyway. Give all a chance to bat this around. Unless anybody wants to offer anything else, we could probably go for a motion.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, do we structure this as a positive?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
in view of the long discussion we had last meeting, we need to make sure that our votes are structured that the vote, a positive vote would be to call it preferably preserved. So the default
Okay.
is not. And I know that I've heard from staff this morning that the city that asked the city solicitor to kind of weigh in on this, and that hasn't happened. But I think the safe bet is
Okay.
just to make sure that we structure things. So a positive vote
Okay.
is to take the action. Negative is default no action. That makes sense.
Then I would move that we take a vote on whether the property at 128 Central Street is or is not preferably preserved.
With a yes
With a
vote
positive
being,
vote being preferable, a yes vote being preferably preserved, and a no vote being not preferably preserved.
okay.
I
Is there a
second
second?
that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Shagnon, seconded by Ms. Price for that. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed?
Nay. Remember
Oh,
that.
wait. Yeah, wait, I just had a mental lapse there. I vote no. Yes. We'll do the roll call
That's
to
what the roll
clarify that.
call is for.
Yep, Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
no,
Mr. Shagnon,
No,
and I'll vote no. And then we need to adopt findings for this, and I think they would probably match the ones that we used for the significance, I believe.
well, no, because we're coming to a negative
Oh, it was a
conclusion.
negative, that's right. I was the only one that voted last time. Okay. Well, it lacks, so it's not
I think-
importantly associated with a historic person or time period. It does not contribute to we phrase this differently every time, but a streetscape pattern in the streetscape
Yeah.
text. It is not a especially good representation of its style, or it doesn't represent that style well enough to be preserved. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
Yeah, no important historical associations. Did we get that in there? I think you did.
Yes, I think it was the first.
I think that covers it.
Okay. So all in favor of adopting the findings as we just outlined? Aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? we'll do a roll call again, starting with Ms. Price.
So do I just vote no? I don't agree with those findings, or?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I
Okay.
would. If I were in your shoes, I would definitely vote no. I mean,
All right,
it's up to
no.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes,
and I'll vote yes. There you have it, folks. Carry on.
Thank you for your consideration this evening, and thank you for taking this first and only.
Sure. We'll see you around
It's gonna
next
be a
time.
Short
Yeah.
night.
I'd like to
Have a good
thank
night.
you all for your time. Thank you.
Good luck.
Do something tasteful there.
yeah,
We'll do the best, what Somerville interested in according to its correct, for sure.
Good luck.
Thank you.
sounds good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, that is our only official item of business. Now we have our public hearing. We have other business. The first is HPC elections. The CPC update will follow that. There is no actual CPC update because we had no meeting, but I'll tell you that officially after elections. So apparently we have to vote ourselves. I got an email, which I think you got to, Madison, from Robin.
Yep.
Saying that she is going to come back in July and she is willing to take on the role, but to continue to be vice chair, which I guess is good because I was hoping all was well with her.
Mhm. And I believe DJ is our secretary currently.
Yeah, I'm currently, yep. I'm content to continue to be secretary. Position of so much responsibility.
Because we have two options. We could either punt this to the next meeting or several meetings to know when she's back, or although I have no problem. Since she's been willing, she said she's willing to take this, so keep going with that role of basically voting her in absentia. And I think we can go another month without her being in that role. We've done okay.
Yeah.
So,
Chair
Unless
Parks, are you willing to stay in your role? That
yeah, sure. I'll stick around. Watch more dominoes fall.
yay.
Yeah, unless somebody else wants to do it. I welcome anybody else who wants to overthrow me.
I think the crown fits you nicely.
Yeah.
We don't really have a lot more people to do that. That's the problem. Everybody already has a role. We have 3 things to do. We should come up with a 4th role, then we'd all be busy.
Well, there will be 5 of us once Robin gets gone.
One thing, it's
You know,
not
you-
really a discussion of business now, but if anybody has a particular interest in joining the CPC, I'm not obligated to be there forever. If anyone wants to do that. I don't know actually when my term is up with them, but something to put in your pocket if anybody has a particular burning desire to do that. Step on up. Otherwise, I'll keep doing it.
As far as the offices are concerned, can we put a motion forth to have a slate of votes remain consistent with what's in place? Is that possible to do that? 1 vote?
I think that's appropriate, yeah.
Yeah.
If that's what everyone wants, of course.
So we would just phrase that to the vote is to continue the current
To
office
re-
holders.
To re-elect the current office holders.
Re-elect.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to list us by name or just,
I
We
mean,
can just list everyone by name to
yeah.
make it more
okay.
official in the minutes.
so me,
But-
Eric, or you do it.
Yeah, I'd say I move that we re-elect Eric Parks as chair, Robin Kelly as vice chair, and DJ Shagnon as secretary.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion for elections by Mr. Shagnon, seconded by Mr. Falvey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And we'll do our roll call, starting with Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So here we are.
All right,
Back
thanks
in there.
for making it so easy.
Back in the cruise. Well, here we are. It's been on my list for a while, so there's one person that was a candidate for the CPC last, I don't remember what it was anymore, spring, I think, who indicated a desire, an interest in historic preservation as well. And he wasn't actually shortlisted for the CPC, and
Interesting.
got his info from Roberta, and I need to kind of hunt him down and see if I can recruit him, which I think I'm allowed to do, but not staff, as I've been told.
I think that's correct. You guys are welcome to hunt anyone down and tell them to apply. As staff, we're representing the city, so we're really not supposed to be doing that.
I do
And
know that
yeah,
it's
and
more of
it's yeah, ads are still not posted. They're like in the process of being
Oh, right.
proofread, and we're going back and forth because for HPC postings, I think I might have told you guys this before, but they differ from other boards and commissions because Chapter 40C of Massachusetts General Law outlines like that we have to have them posted on like several different organization websites for a certain amount of times. Like a certain amount of time, I think it's 30 days. And then those organizations have to give us 2 nominees to like decide on. So it's just like a lot more complicated and there's more ads to read through and post and organizations to work things through with. So I know it's taking a while, but we are working on it, I promise.
No, I thank you for navigating the bureaucracy on our behalf.
Of course,
Um,
it's my job.
And I know there's this discussion last time about this uncertainty about what the city's going to throw our way for when our terms expire. And I guess at this point, we're just waiting to seeing on that.
Yeah, I still have not heard anything from the AAC. Oh, and as far as I know, they haven't started anything with any of the boards. Um, so we'll see if like what happens when something eventually does happen, but at this point you guys know just as much as I do.
Okay,
Fair enough.
we won't revent to you. We've been through that. I think everybody, well,
I mean your frustrations are totally valid.
no,
I
and
hear
you're just the
you.
messenger. And so, yeah, we're all on the same page, I think, about what's
Mhm.
going on there. But
Yeah,
we'll
sorry
cross
I
that
can't give you guys more answers right now, but we're trying.
Yeah.
If they boot us all off, they just won't have a commission. We'll see what happens.
That's kind of like that's
Yeah.
the Trump approach, right? Just didn't get rid of the board. We just got rid of all the people on the board.
Right. Oh,
Um, okay. And the CPC, as I mentioned, there was no hearing. Oh, they only do their meetings once a month, and that meeting is next week. So, and we're right now in the process of just reviewing the plan for next year, and then shortly they'll start taking applications for the next round. So
Okay.
we're at that level. Yeah, and there's no other particular business, right? Do we have our regular meetings next week, next month already, or are we lacking in agenda items for any of them?
Um, I know we have the first meeting for sure in June. I will see about the second meeting. The advertising date for that one hasn't passed yet. I think it's legal ads for that are due Friday, so we'll
We
see
may,
next
we
week.
may have a quorum issue for June 3rd, because I'm unavailable, as I think I had emailed you about. And I believe
Yes.
Nick is out of the
Oh,
country.
And
Uh-oh.
okay.
I'm unavailable for that meeting also. I'm sorry.
All right,
It's
well-
Definitely have a
okay.
quorum
Then I
issue.
guess we don't have a June 3rd meeting. It's fine. Um, I gotta double check and see what's on the agenda. I think something was advertised, but I'll reach out to you, Eric, and discuss continuing things.
Okay. June 3rd, I will. Well, I would just do the usual login and say hello, goodbye. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Except if we don't have anything to continue, No, because we have cases, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is at least one thing advertised for that date. I'll reach out to you about it later, since I
Okay.
think you're the only one who that'll affect at this point.
Sure. Well, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Great.
7:19 and we're done already.
Would you entertain a motion to adjourn?
Sure, go for it.
I will move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
I was gonna say, can
Okay.
everyone second it all at once?
Motion. We should vote no on one of those sometime just to kind of mess with the paradigm. Refused.
Haven't we done that enough recently?
That would be, yeah,
Maybe
right.
that's just me.
Yeah, well, no.
Troublemaker.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's good. It's,
We love it.
it's good. Those demo, I mean, not speaking to any particular case, but those are always such,
Interesting.
you know, if you were to look at my voting history, I'm sure I've been all over the place going back 20 years on that. So sometimes I think we should just have a meeting dedicated to methodology and demos.
I mean, that would be great.
It would be.
I would love to have that.
Oh. Of course, we'd have all the attorneys logging in anyway, just to watch us and strategize.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be open for public comment, so they couldn't say anything. It would just be an internal. Well, we
There
could
to
think about
observe.
it, to observe it.
Interesting.
Huh.
I think
Well-
the pattern has changed over the years too, Eric and Ryan. I mean, we've all been here quite a while. I mean, it's changed as like what the interpretation of the statutes has allowed developers to submit is like in terms of what we're supposed to consider. It's changed. I think one of the big changes is when the demo delay went from 9 months to 18 months. It feels like it gets put in front of us much earlier in everyone's process because they're figuring the
Yeah.
clock is long. Let's get it in front of them, even though we don't know what we're doing yet. And that way, at least the clock is running. You know, it's been interesting.
And having it be 18 versus 9 months, it's got a little bit more bite. So I
Yeah.
think in the past, it was sort of like, well, who cares? 9 months is nothing to a developer anyway. So
Yeah. I mean,
what do they care what we do?
There are definite positives in the city council having made it 18 months. But I think that the flip side to it is that we are getting things much earlier in the process of planning about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to consider preferable as to what, but on the other hand, I think the guidance has been that we're not supposed to do that anymore.
I mean, the last place I worked, the demo delay was 24 months, so it
Yeah.
could be
Wow.
worse.
Yeah.
And how often was that really invoked there? This is Brookline, was it?
Very often it was Brookline.
Very
Oh, yeah.
often. Okay.
Yeah.
But isn't it supposed to encourage the developers to come back to staff with some really creative, wonderful ideas?
It is. And I think we've seen that it frequently does, but it doesn't always,
Right.
you know. There's-
It's tough because sometimes if there's a whole lot to be gained, like if there's a single family building there and they're going to replace it with, oh, I don't know, 6 units. The payoff is so much that they will just blow it off rather than work. So I guess it sort of depends on getting a sense of what's to be gained by waiting us out versus working with it. And I could think of cases. I mean, we had some great successes. There's remember
Yeah.
the old Quest Diagnostic building there on Prospect Street? Way back, the old brick building.
Yep.
They wanted to knock that down and instead they kept it and stuck kind of a cool project where they took the roof off of it and put a new apartment building inside of it. But
You're
I
right.
guess we're allowed to talk about that. It's not a case for us.
Did we ever vote on the motion to adjourn? I guess not,
Oh.
because we're talking.
All right. Oh, okay. So we have the motion officially. I'll just shut up here. It was by Mr. Shagnon, second by Ms. Price, right?
Yeah.
We're adjourning. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Opposed? We'll do the roll call. Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Falvey,
Yes.
Mr. Shagnon,
Yes,
and I'll vote yes.
all right.
All right, we're adjourned.
See you all mid-June, it sounds like.
Yep,
Good
have
night, everyone.
good
Thank you,
traveling. to all your
Madison and Kristen. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank all you guys.
Well,
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.